Hello everybody and welcome to a football podcast that precedes unfortunate events. I'm Callum, joined here by...
Hi, it's Lewis.
And it's Toby, hello.
Today, we're going to be doing another rebuild because we've run out of ideas, to be completely honest with you. But starting things off, let's talk about our teams. Well, we'll talk about your team last, Toby, because it will kind of link into what we're talking about. Lewis, start us off with your shit football team. What happened?
I said it last week. I'm going to carry on with the vein I said last week. I said we were good, however, we are inconsistent. So, we showed that again. We were the better team against Millwall for most parts of the game, to be fair. But it's that thing, we'll have shots and we just simply won't convert them because we've got Dwight Gale up front and Alex Neil doesn't drop him for some reason. We missed the flair of Tyrese Campbell, who was out due to some concussion rules. He went down against Swansea. He didn't get subbed. No, he did get subbed eventually. But it meant he had to miss this game, and it really showed, to be honest. But we've got a big game against Brighton in the week, FA Cup. We're 2 games from Wembley, so hopefully with nothing to play for in the league, we can just throw everything at that. And who knows, maybe a nice trip to London. I'll say this, we'll probably get dicked tomorrow, won't we? We play Brighton, but I think we could do Brighton, to be honest.
Away?
No, we're at home.
Oh, nice.
At the Bet365. So we've lost more games than we've won over the last 12 months.
You mentioned Mr. Dwight Gale, and I'm going to link this back to a conversation we had in our lecture earlier.
He's horrific.
And you mentioned dropping Dwight Gale.
He's horrific.
Do you drop Dwight Gale?
That's
all we care about now.
Not in the way you mean. I'm not here to elicit violence. But yes, he's not a very good footballer. I would shake a fist angrily in his face.
So what it sounds
maybe,
like is...
Maybe wag a finger at
Right,
him.
so Dwight Gale, if you're hearing this, Lewis Woolscroft has called you out for a charity boxing fight.
Wow.
But no, I just there's nothing left in our season. At least we're not going to go down now.
Please God.
We've got we've got a few results together that means we're not going to go down. We're about 9 points clear.
Well, you say that. I'm unfortunately still in the worry of Everton could go down. We're back in the relegation places after Leeds got their charity win at home against Southampton, because that's all Southampton are, is a charity for the rest of the shit teams in the league to beat.
Everton in the mud.
Yep. The Villa game, it was a difficult one to really gauge on because we had a good performance. Unfortunately, we had Neil Maupay up front. I praised him last week, but saying that, he still couldn't hit a barn door with anything. It's getting to the point now where you consider it and go, well, really, what's the point in starting a player like Neil Maupay if he's just not going to score goals? It doesn't matter if the link-up player is good, he's a striker. And in the end, he's just not scoring goals. If we wanted good link-up player from up front, why not just sign Isco on a free and play him at striker at this point?
You say this, but I'm looking through your bench that you fielded in the Villa game, and there's not a lot on it that
it's all defenders,
inspires
bro. It's
anyone.
all defenders.
So you say you don't want to start Neil Maupay, but where's the alternative?
I'd rather start Ellis Sims.
You want to start Ellis Sims?
At least get the kid ready for up to sharpness for playing in the Championship next season. You know what I mean? But no, I don't think we'll go down still. I think we showed enough against Villa, and I think it is more of a thing where if we can get a run in from Calvert-Lewin towards the end of the season, I don't really think there's a chance of us going down. To be honest with you, I think Calvert-Lewin's time at Everton's probably done in the summer. If we can bring someone else in, the guy's unreliable, and it's the same thing Yerry Mina falls under. It's a very generic statement, and I hate using these shitty generic statements, but the best ability is availability, and Calvert-Lewin's, he's about as available as those little moon things when they got popular on TikTok, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've just seen you play Arsenal next as well. Why's that come around again so soon?
I think it just got one of the games got moved.
Postponed, yeah.
Yeah, one of the games got postponed. I don't know which one, but yeah. So we're going to get pumped by Arsenal at the Emirates.
But then massive games against Forest and Brentford before you enter what's quite a tricky run. How important are those 2 games? After the Arsenal game's a bit of a free hit, but those 2 after that, crucial.
Yeah, I want at least 4 points. 4 points minimum.
Fixtures after it.
You got
Chelsea,
us,
Spurs, United, Fulham.
I'm not worried about the Chelsea game. That's a free win, but
you could put us into a relegation battle there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Technically, you're not out of one.
I know. That's what's quite scary. But yeah, but I can't see anyone down there. How many points are they? 10 points? I don't know. I can't see 3 other teams getting 10 points together maybe between now and then. I don't know.
You'll find out relegation fights are less about how good your team is and more about how bad the other teams are.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing happened last year and same thing that's happening this year. Most years, this Everton team get dick down, Championship, bye-bye. The past 2 seasons, thankfully, there's been 3 teams worse than us each time. You know, they've got Leeds, who I'm sorry, but Javi Gracia is a terrible manager for this level.
They won a game
against Southampton.
Did you see Bednarek's defending for that goal? He stood right in front of Bazunu.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable.
The entire top 6 of the Championship beat Southampton. The entire top 10 maybe does Southampton.
Definitely top 3, I'd say.
Yeah. Every team in the playoffs right now beats Southampton.
Do you think?
Yeah, quite easily as well. Southampton.
Oh no, but Millwall were in the top 6 and they weren't anything special at all.
No, but the thing is, against Southampton, they'll struggle. Javi Gracia's team did it. They had a lot of the ball, but when it came to Southampton actually attacking, Leeds just went, "Yeah, we'll sit back, mate, have fun." And Southampton were like, "What do we do here?" You know, they've got a young squad and they've got a lot of talented players, but when you are literally relying on free kicks to win your games, then they're sentenced down. There's no way they don't go down. I think Bournemouth have enough where they could nick it. I think the entire, like I said, I think from like 13th to 20th could all go down. Realistically,
I think Southampton sink like a stone in the Championship as well.
It depends who they keep. If they can keep a few of their young players, I think it might be like a season.
From a Stoke fan whose team were odds-on favourites to win the league, piss the league when we first went down.
No, but it
gives me a lot of the same vibes,
I think that was just bad
honest.
Journalism, mate, because your team was shit.
On paper, we had the best team in the league.
I don't know about that.
But that's not how the Championship
I don't know about that, mate.
We got schooled by Leeds in the first game, and then...
What season did you first go down?
We went down in 17-18.
So 18-19 was your first...
19.
Right, so from the start of the season, you say, is this after the... No, Norwich had a better team than you, Sheffield United had a better team than you. On paper, West Brom had a better team than you, Villa had a better team than you. That was just lazy journalism from whoever put you to win the Championship, mate. I hate to burst your bubble, but that Norwich team got 94 points, mate. Your team got 55. You know.
Yeah, but that's because we just had a squad of underperforming players.
You had a squad of
Anyway.
old...
Speaking of a squad with underperforming players,
Hey!
Hello.
This is what he does.
I feel like every week this is just getting worse and worse. Like the
Yeah.
talk, I think I've been quite optimistic, or not too worried. But as each week passes, I think I'm slowly getting worse and worse. To be honest,
Yeah, the tone of voice has certainly got more.
Yeah,
more
The
and more
eyes are
abject.
sinking in.
It'll be on the desk next
I think
week.
I'm just a bit fed up. I'm just waiting. Like, when is this going to end?
When's it going to end, Robbie?
And looking at the fixtures again, I can't see our form changing. I know we got half a decent run. I think between now and I don't know when it is. It's the beginning of April. So next month we've got easy enough fixtures. Obviously, all the teams we're playing in the Prem between now and Liverpool are in a relegation battle or near the bottom, which is tough. Obviously, we've got Dortmund in there, the Champions League as well. But I don't know, if results don't go our way, we could be pushed into that even lower than 10th, and that is quite scary.
Does it make it worse? Like, I know it doesn't get mentioned much because Fulham are usually absolutely shy. Does it make it worse that Fulham are above you?
I think so, yeah. The way they've gone up as well, but the thing is, like, they're a good team. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're fluking their way.
No, but they're technically your biggest rivals, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're not really though.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, not really. There's no competition here right now. Fulham are comfortably the better side.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, watching them on Friday night as well, they look good to come back from behind and win and get a draw. Sorry. So yeah, it's nice seeing Fulham doing quite well.
It's not.
As a neutral,
It's not,
but
because that could have been us.
yeah, we're
If
poor
we actually
and
just gave Marco Silva the chance to run the football team.
I was just looking here as well about where we finished in the last 10 or so years, and obviously we finished 10th in that 15-16 season. Mourinho won the league.
Even Stoke finished above you that season.
Well, we could finish off even worse. Like, I was looking now, with points we got 50 points that season, and we're on 31 at the moment. So we've got to get 19 points from somewhere, and I don't see that happening.
I think you're gonna
Just what went wrong on Sunday? What went wrong against Chelsea?
Chances as well. Like, we haven't got a striker like it before. I know it's the same old story, but for the last couple of seasons, but yeah, we just didn't have a striker. We've got no one there who can finish the chances, and even then, we don't have many chances. Still playing persistent with Kai Havertz up front is ridiculous. Like, what is the point?
Yeah.
And to bring Aubameyang on, Mudryk and Madueke, did he even come on? I can't even remember. But to leave them players on the bench is ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. Like, what Aubameyang? Yes, he's been poor. And we don't really know behind the scenes
He looked fuming.
What his
before he
relationship-
came
It's,
on,
that
didn't he?
picture's so funny.
what his relationship is with Graham Potter, and we've seen it all in that All or Nothing documentary of Arteta. So yeah, I don't understand. But to have a proven goal scorer like that on the bench, again, he might as well just play. Like, it's not like he's holding anyone back. Like, Havertz has had enough chances. For me, this was his make or break season, and I know we'll get into it, but he's got to go this summer, and it's just not worked out for him. He has like one decent game every 15, 10.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough, and yeah, our form is horrific. What is it? When's the last game we won? Was
I
Crystal
think you've
Palace.
got worse form in the league. Let me check.
Yeah, what is it at the moment?
Well, you've picked up in your last 5 games. You picked 3 points up, which is the same as Southampton.
Well, that's the way we're
Who
performing at the
ironically
moment.
won at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Same as Crystal Palace.
Exactly.
Oh no, Crystal Palace have picked up 4 points. So yeah, worst form in the league, tied with Southampton.
And I was again, we'll get into this as we go to our main topic, but just looking back when Potter was first appointed, our form was fantastic. Like, I don't, without really going in depth and having a look back over it, I just don't understand what's changed since then and now. When did Tuchel get sacked? Because it was after the Zagreb defeat, wasn't it? Because then Potter came in. We beat Milan, we beat Wolves, we beat Milan again, we beat
So
Aston
what was
Villa.
it? Was it September?
Yeah, going into then we lost.
Yeah.
We had that big defeat to Brighton 4-1.
First game was at Salzburg, where you got griddied on.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, when we came back, even in the run up to the World Cup, we didn't look good. Obviously, that defeat to Arsenal, defeat to Newcastle. Obviously, 2 teams at the time. Obviously, well, maybe not so much Arsenal, but at the time, losing to Newcastle wasn't great, because we were potentially, challenging for European spots with them. And then we came back from the World Cup, beat Bournemouth, and then Forest, and then it all started tumbling down. And
So a lot of people have called for Potter's head, understandably so. But I think I've seen it around the place on social media. A lot of people are also likening it to the start of Mikel Arteta's spell at Arsenal.
Well, yeah, even Graham Potter
he went through a dreadful run, didn't he?
Yeah.
But now we all see it come together. Do you think something similar can happen with Potter?
Absolutely, I think. I don't know. Well, I don't know. At the moment, I don't see it happening. Like, he's got to be. Still, I'm sticking with it. He's got to be given till the end of the season. Like, what's the point in changing now?
Yeah.
There's no one else out there at the moment. I know you have a different view, Callum, of what you want to do to the squad when we get into it. But I don't see the point. I just think we're dying out. That next win is going to be so big for us. Not in terms of where we're going to finish in the table, but I think sort of the squad. Yeah, Potter, he'll feel a weight lifted off his shoulders. But yeah, like I said, I don't see it coming. But the difference there, going back to that point about Arteta at Arsenal, it was a bit different there. I think. I don't think it was as toxic as it is now. I think Arsenal were definitely playing a lot better football during that time. Maybe the results weren't as good, or I'm not too sure.
They could see something. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I just remember all the banners were out in force. Arsenal Fan
Ooh.
TV were doing the thing.
Arsenal had a much better start, didn't they? They won the FA Cup.
Yeah, true.
Under Arteta against us. So, and also I think Potter referenced Klopp at Liverpool, but that's a totally different thing as well. Like this, you could see the squad was the squad wasn't as good as ours.
Yeah.
That Liverpool squad wasn't as good, and you could see it happening. You could see a development there. I know football is such a not deadly sport. I don't know what the word is. Such a harsh.
It's brutal, isn't it?
Brutal, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Brutal sport. So, how much time do you give Potter? Is what Bowley's going to be weighing up. Like he's put his balls on the line.
Yeah.
As the new owner coming in, backing him with the money. Firstly, obviously getting rid of Tuchel.
I don't think you can give somebody that much money to spend and then not give them time.
Especially 5-year contract as well. Like,
yeah.
Then imagine if his reputation, like even Bowley's reputation, is going to be like with the fans and with the Premier League. Like, his reputation is going to be on the line. You know, he's come in, he's put so much faith into Graham Potter, big five-year contract, and then to get rid of him, like, what's he going to do next? Like, I don't know. To be honest with you, lads, I don't even want to think about it. Like, the way we are at the moment, I've just tried not to think about Chelsea as much as possible because it just makes me a little bit depressed, the way things are going, and I just don't want to turn into that banter club, really. But we already are, so yeah, I don't know.
Join the club.
Yeah, join the club.
Right,
exactly.
boys.
It was pure depression.
I'm back from a crisis meeting, and that crisis meeting has said it's time for Harry Graham Potter to go. No magic here. We've had enough of that shit. And there's only one man to fix the job. We're going to give him the job for the third time because every time something goes wrong at Chelsea, we bring him back.
Jose Mourinho.
The second greatest football manager of all time, Senor Jose Mourinho.
Who's the greatest?
Sir Alex Ferguson. Even I'm not blind enough to not acknowledge that.
I fully expected Sean Dyche to come out.
No, Sean Dyche is free. But I'm going to say this mainly because from what I've heard from you, Toby, a lot of Chelsea fans would actually like Mourinho back for a third time.
Yeah, I've seen a few people on Twitter saying that, but I think that also that's just out of like desperation. Like, who else is on the market that
pure
could actually
nostalgia.
bring it back?
It's like whenever we sack a manager, all the Purist Brigade come out.
The David Moyes Brigade for Everton, yeah. But why not? It's a podcast. We're not exactly football experts, so why not say the man who's going to replace Graham Potter? If anyone's going to replace Graham Potter, it's going to be Jose Mourinho, current Roma manager. He's enjoying a bit of a career renaissance at Roma. Currently has Roma 4th in the Serie A, but with a game in hand on AC Milan will take them above them if they win that game. I think the one advantage to this is Mourinho literally plays the exact same formation Tuchel played at. He's moved from that 4-2-3-1 that he was so reliable on, which was so reliable for him for such a long time, to a 3-4-2-1, which I believe is what Tuchel used to play with you.
Yeah.
Or a 3-4-1-2. It was one of them.
Variations, yeah.
Yeah, that is what Jose plays now, and I might as well read out the Roma squad while we're at it. This is the team that he currently has, probably when they play their next game, 3rd in Serie A. Rui Patricio in goal, who, I'm going to start listing off who score rating. He's dropping off a mighty, impressive 6.3 in goal. He's dropping a clanger every game. Then they've got Mancini, big Chris Smalling in the middle, and Ibanez being probably the only good central defender out of the three. Well, Chris Smalling's had a bit of a resurgence at Roma, but then they've got Zeki Celik right wing back, Cristante, of course, and Nemanja Matic. It's a rule for a Jose Mourinho team to have him. Spinazzola, Dybala, Pellegrini, Tammy Abraham. So, I mean, you look at the Chelsea team and you go...
There's a few similarities in there.
There is. I think there's a lot of similarities there. That,
player profiles, yeah.
That Jose could get advantage out. You know, Roma have spent a bit of money, but if you listen to the squad I've just listed out, you'd go, Europa League in Serie A maybe. The fact that he might be the manager to return them to the Champions League after all these years of failure at Roma, I think it's a sign that he is still a top-level manager and could still come in and do a job for a club like Chelsea. Are Chelsea going to want to pay another big severance package after the Graham Potter thing? Bowley's got the money back. I can imagine he won't want to.
Yeah, I'll probably put Mourinho on an 8-year contract, won't he?
But it's like, it probably, knowing Bowley, he'll give him like some weird contract where it's like he does the manager, and when they then eventually sack him as the manager, he becomes the director of football. So much stupid like that. But we've now got keep, sell, loan. I'm not doing the loan and keep part.
This is to get the funds up for your proposed business, isn't it?
So we did the Football Manager thing last time. We're not using that because Football Manager gives Chelsea 15 million to spend. Absolutely zero chance in hell that's all they get. So we're gonna have a start. We're gonna have a baseline of 100 because I think that's about a realistic amount Chelsea may spend. With player sales, we've got Malang Sarr going to Monaco with his obligation to buy for £13 million. We've got Edouard. This is all transfer market values, by the way, except the Malang Sarr one. I don't know how the rest of them work, but this is all based off transfer market values. We've got Edouard Mendy for 25 million, maybe 20 mil. I can imagine a team will pay that just because of the form he's shown in the past. Kepa for 15 mil, same thing. He's had bright sparks to it, where a team like Betis, who need a younger goalkeeper, might take the risk on him instead. Or, well, not really a risk. He's proved he can play in the Spanish league at a good level. N'Golo Kante, sorry mate, we're not signing you to a new contract. Bye. He's on ridiculous wages. Loftus-Cheek, 15 to 20 mil. I'd say about 20 mil. I know a very stupid club located in Merseyside that'd probably pay that money for him. I do think Loftus-Cheek's a good player. I don't think he's worth that at all, though. Kovacic, around 35 to 40 mil. Again, Kovacic is a very good player, one of my favourite players in the Chelsea team, but it's getting to the point now where they're going to want that young midfield, and is Kovacic finally going to have enough of being the best midfielder at the club and still being forced onto the bench? I could see a team like...
Just on Kovacic, so from my point of view, I think he doesn't have many good performances in a row. I feel like he's one of them players where he's got the ability like on the ball. Like you can see that, it's obvious. And that's what makes, like, I know stats aren't everything in football, but like the eye test, he passes it every time. Like he's a brilliant footballer, but he doesn't contribute enough. I think that's a problem. But yeah, I think it's...
Was it lockdown he had that really good season? The loan season at Chelsea where he was really good.
And then we signed him,
Yeah, and then Aubameyang for 10 mil. Some club in Saudi Arabia will pay you 10 mil. Pulisic for 30. There's been links linking him to AC Milan for that money. Ziyech for 18 mil, PSG. And then I can see Inter giving you 50 mil for Lukaku. That adds up to about, I think that adds up to like 230 something million, but we'll chop some of that off for wages as well and say about 200 million. So say Chelsea have about 300 million to spend. That's a lot of money. And I don't really think you need to replace many positions.
Yeah, what positions would you prioritise if you were Todd Bowley? You in the summer transfer window. What are you totting up on your list?
Well, the first thing I'm doing is, if I'm Todd Bowley, I'm going, it's not my job anymore. Jose, pick your men. That's the first thing I'm doing. Is I'm trusting Jose Mourinho. I think that's been the big problem with Graham Potter, is a lot of these players are... Don't get me wrong, I think if Graham Potter was offered Enzo Fernandez and offered these players, he'd have gone, yeah. But again, like, I'm trying to think of players you've signed that just...
They're not his players, are they?
No.
Like, you can see, obviously, we've got the whole new recruitment team in as well. It's obviously, I like, just on it though, I do like I haven't got a problem with any of the people we signed in January. I know we went through it before, but like, I think they're all very sensible signings, and I think they will be good for us. Like, down the line, like they've come in at a difficult period in the club's history, so they're obviously going to be under a lot of pressure to sort of perform, and all eyes are going to be on them, especially Fernandes and Mudryk. Like, that's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what our approach is going to be like in the summer. I feel like all we need is key players now. Like, we need them key players in them key positions. Like, if we just spend big money on a couple of key signings, then I'll be more than happy.
Well, what I've got, and as a Chelsea fan, let me know what you think about this. I've got a goalkeeper. I'm just going to trust Nathan Baxter as the backup now. He's going to play cup games and an occasional Champions League game against a stinker. He's a good enough goalkeeper. Like, I think you're more of the Championship man, but I remember the season where he stayed fully fit, because I know he's had some injury issues at Hull this season. Statistically, he's one of the best keepers in the league, even though Hull were going through an absolute torrid time.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen too much of him. I'm not an avid Hull viewer, but from what I've been told, from what I've looked at, he seems a good bet.
He looks like a Stoke goalkeeper as well. I can imagine Baxter in goal for
yeah, but that's what worries me really.
We got Bergstrom as well, and
Slanina as well.
Yeah, of course.
I completely forgot about Slanina, to be honest. So I could see it being Slanina who's given the backup role.
Maybe you don't need him.
No, but Baxter, Slanina, one of those young lads. You've got decent enough keepers in your academy to do a job as a backup. But then I've got a starting centre back. 2 DMs, starter and a backup with N'Golo Kante going, and with the formation Mourinho plays, I don't really feel like you have someone in that Matic role to sit back, to hover in front of the defence. So I think you need 2 players. You're going to be playing in. I don't know if you'll be playing in the Champions League. To be honest with you, I see you nicking 7th or 6th in the end.
I don't see us moving, to be honest.
I see, no, but you know, one of those things where it always seems to happen in favour of the big 6 clubs, where they'll have that nice run at the end of the season after having an absolute stinker season, and then one of the teams above them will absolutely plummet. Oh, are you still in the FA Cup?
No.
Oh, Jesus. I don't see, but I could see you getting into the Conference League or something. So, or even then, I think you need to be prepared to have a big squad, because I can't see Mourinho finishing outside the top 6, to be honest with you. So you need enough rotation.
You need a starting goalkeeper as well.
Just on the squad size as well. I don't know if you've seen this morning, but Graham Potter came out and said, you know, these training sessions have been really have not been up to standard, or not where he wants them, because the squad is so big.
Yeah.
And I think the initial reaction from Chelsea fans from that was, it's another excuse, like another day, another excuse. Like, what was the excuse the other day? It was what was it? What was the other excuse?
I'm not a Chelsea fan.
I know, but I had it in my head before, but I think that's also winding Chelsea fans up about these excuses.
Yeah, but he can't make that excuse, because if you're in the Champions League, you've got to have these big squads. I'd say you need minimum, if you're in the Champions League, 23 to 25 players at a minimum. So You can't make that excuse. That's a terrible excuse, to be honest with you. I've got a backup right wing back, but Mourinho could do what Antonio Conte did with Victor Moses. I could see that happening with Callum Hudson-Odoi. With how much attacking freedom you get given as a wing back nowadays, it wouldn't surprise me if someone like Hudson-Odoi can be converted to a right wing back if he's willing to. Not permanently.
We got Gusto coming back, to be fair.
Gusto too, but true. Malo Gusto's coming back as well. I completely forgot about him as well, but. Well, you've got Gusto as a backup, and you could have Hudson-Odoi. It depends what he wants to do with Gusto. Gusto's very attacking, so we'll say option one for the backup right wing back is either the Hudson-Odoi or Malo Gusto, and then I've got a starting striker. I don't know what you think about that, but so basically for the starting 11, you need a goalkeeper, centre back, DM, striker.
I agree. I think
new
midfield.
spine of the team essentially.
Basically, but if you've got 300 million to spend, I think we'll have a basic core of the team with your centre backs, and I don't know. See, my thing with Koulibaly is I think Koulibaly can be good enough under Mourinho, but is it worth taking that risk of him potentially being crap? Do you just bring in because here's the thing is, if you spend 50, 60, 70, 80 mil on a younger centre back, that younger centre back you can probably convince to stay on the bench if Koulibaly turns into what he once was.
Yeah.
So I think that, and can't see Chelsea approaching older players, to be honest with you. I see it being exclusively young players. But, I mean, if we go in order of position, it's a bit easier. So if we go from goalkeeper...
What names have you got down?
So for goalkeeper, I've got two names who really impressed in the World Cup in Dominic Livakovic and Bunu. I know you had Livakovic down as well, Lewis, but it's one of those things where both of these lads, like Livakovic somehow still plays for Zagreb. He's good enough to play. He showed at the World Cup he's good enough to play at a top level. And with goalkeepers, Edouard Mendy proved it. A strong defence, and no offence to Mendy, but a strong defence can cover up your mistakes. And if you look at Livakovic, I hate XG. I'm not a fan of the stat in the slightest, to be honest with you. But his post-shot XG, like the saves he makes to stop goals from going in, I think is what it means. He's in the top 1% in all of Europe. Usually, I wouldn't rely on a stat like that, but that clearly sends him out. And I know he's playing in the Croatian league, so we kind of have to temper expectations that will drop. But I think Bunu and Livakovic are costing you 15 to 20 million, more closer to that 15 mark. I just don't see Bunu, especially since he got chinned by a Sevilla fan a few days ago. So I can't imagine he wants to be there much longer.
The only thing with World Cup goalkeeper, any player who's performed well at the World Cup, you've got to sort of take it with a bit of a pinch of salt as well.
The one thing I will say about that, though, is I think goalkeepers are usually the most reliable sign for that.
True.
And if you're paying 15 million, no, he's crap.
It's quite risk-free, isn't it?
You know what I mean? 15 mil for a club like Chelsea is nothing.
Yeah, and I think that sort of signing, or them sort of signings, sort of follow the transfer recruitment plan we executed in January. So I think they're more than sensible. And yeah, I think that if you look at the top clubs in the league as well, at the moment they've all had a keeper in goal who has been there for a while. I can't really think of another big team in the Prem who have recently acquired a new goalkeeper.
If you had to pick one of the two mentioned, which one would you go for?
I've got a third one too.
Oh, a third
one.
But
okay. You talk about these first two because this third one's going to be a part of a special segment called Todd Bowley's Big Spends, where for each of them I'm going to give you a ridiculously priced player that you could sign.
I like the one from Dana Zagreb. What's his name?
Livakovic.
Well, I think that follows. But then stats are impressive. How old is he?
27, which
27.
I'd say for it's like 23, the equivalent of a goalkeeper.
Get a good six years out of him.
Well, it depends. You look at goalkeepers like Petr Cech and stuff keep going to the late 30s, so you never know really. But if we're going to move on to, before you mention your goalkeepers, because I can imagine yours will be more goalkeepers people have seen before, I do want to talk about, for the first position, Todd Bowley's big spend, where we're going to go straight to Porto for Diogo Costa, extensively linked to Manchester United in the summer and January. Fantastic young guy, I think he's like 23, but his stats for a goalkeeper are through the roof, and he's playing in a good league. The Portuguese leagues, recently especially created a lot of success. It used to be one of those leagues where it was a bit iffy for players, but now, a lot of players are coming in from the Portuguese league and just instantly becoming star players. Bruno Fernandes, Ruben Diaz signed straight from the Portuguese league. That lad for Wolves has been quite good. Nunes, I think. You look at a lot of these players and they are quite reliable, but a goalkeeper, especially at his age, like 23, goalkeeper possibly for the next 10-15 years. But Porto asked for 66 million for Manchester United. I can imagine you can get him for 40 to 50, to be honest. I can imagine you can negotiate that down. But that kind of says something about the platform for goalkeepers right now where the big money spend's only 40 to 50 million. It kind of really says something, especially for foreign goalkeepers. Because there is that English tax. You see players like Ramsdale and Pickford going for decent money for goalkeepers who are relegated. But who are your goalkeepers? Who do you
mine
think?
would be Diogo Costa as well. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. What I've seen from him anyway. And I don't know, I just feel there's sort of this aura around him. I don't know what it is.
Passes
you know
the
what I
vibe
mean?
check.
Yeah, he definitely passes a vibe check. And I know you shouldn't base signings off of that, of course, but yeah, he looks strong. And obviously, if a team like Manchester United and Erik ten Hag are after him, I know you can laugh and say Chelsea did similar with Mudryk as well, but they're the sort of signings you should be competing for as well, and especially in a position like that, would be strong. But yeah, maybe there could be a swap deal in there as well. I don't know.
I could see him accepting maybe 30 mil and
or in
Mendy
exchange for a sort of maybe.
25 mil and Kepa, 20 mil and Kepa. More in Kepa and less than Mendy's what I meant.
Yeah. I'd agree with Diogo Costa actually. Out of them three, I'd rather spend big money on a goalkeeper. I know that
you're gonna have for a
that's
few
bitten
years,
us in the arse in the past with Kepa, but Mendy performed well for a period of time.
What about bit of an older keeper? What about Keylor Navas? Clearly, PSG don't want him if they were willing to send him to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. I did. I was just looking at the list here, and he did pop up. But I think he's just a bit too old, though.
I don't know. He's been excellent for Forest.
He has. He's been, and he's a proven winner.
And is it a thing where maybe you go, okay, let's bring in Navas for 2-3 seasons, then let Navas kind of nurture Slanina, and then just give Slanina the chance straight away. If the kid's got as much potential as everyone's making out, you'll really want to give him a chance in the team, won't you?
Well, that's a possible option. Yeah, like I said, he's been at some of the biggest clubs in the world. He's a winner. So yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible option if we decide we don't want to spend too much money again on a goalkeeper, and we want someone who, obviously, this time at Nottingham Forest, by the time the season ends, we'll have a better understanding of how adaptable he is to this league. So yeah, maybe getting him in for a season or 2 seasons, and then we'll have money to spend big on another goalkeeper. Maybe by the time his time is up at the club, there might be another keeper who's emerged, and we can pick on him.
Well, I think if you look at the Premier League now as well, we won't go too much in detail with these because you'll watch them every week. Raya, Sanchez, Leno's been fantastic this season. I don't know if that's a permanent or a loan though.
I think it's permanent because they've got Matt Turner, haven't they?
I think it's permanent.
Yeah, but keepers like that have had absolutely fantastic seasons. There's probably some more that I ain't named, but I could see Chelsea going in for them too. David Raya especially, because I believe he's rejected 2 contracts and said he wants to stay in London.
That makes sense.
It may be you or Spurs, I could see.
Spurs as well.
But I think that's it for goalkeepers. I say the one I can see Chelsea doing the most is probably Livakovic. I think that's the one Mourinho would do. Because I think Mourinho, with his goalkeeping history, he's always gone for more lower profile ones. I believe it was Mourinho who signed Petr Cech, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. He likes his low profile names in goal. Rui Patricio's probably the biggest name goalkeeper I remember him actually signing. There's probably some more, but I can't seem to remember one. But if we move on to starting centre-backs, I've got 3. And I'm actually going to go in the reverse order I've got this written down. The first one I've got is a hometown return for Mr. Fikayo Tomori.
Nice. I like that.
I think you were morons for letting him go in the first place, to be honest.
No, of course.
And I mean, you've replaced him with Koulibaly when you could argue that Tomori's better than Koulibaly. He went straight to Serie A, shored up the defence and went with it. I think he's had some injury issues and a bit of a slip up this year, but he was arguably one of the main, if not the main reason AC Milan went from consistent underachievers to winners of Serie A. I know they've had a massively turbulent season this season from what I've heard and from what I've seen.
Well, they're still top 4, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's one of those where I think you get him 50 to 60 million. Is he still 23?
Yeah, well, I think we can all agree if Tomori was at the club at the moment out on loan and came back, or he was still at the club, then he wouldn't have been sold under Graham Potter and under the new.
Well, if we're going to speak about that, if Tomori was in other squads, we might have made it further than the quarterfinals. But we won't speak about that one. But I think Tomori's a bit of a no-brainer. I think people in the Prem have seen him, that he's got talent. He's extremely fast. But what Mourinho seemed to do now is he almost plays like a wide centre back, which is, I think it's given to Ibanez, the faster centre back, more technical, someone who can get up the field a little bit and almost linking to midfield to attack. So I think we need someone who can do that. In my opinion, can Tomori do that to a good enough level for a top 4 team? Probably not. No offense to the guy. So I've got 2 centre backs here. We've got one reasonably priced signing, and then Todd Bowley's big spend. But I think my second option is Jurrien Timber from Ajax. I think the kid's been linked with Man United, and he can play across the entire back line, right back, centre back, left back. Can do a job in defensive midfield.
A versatile boy.
A versatile boy. And if you have a look at my screen here, Lewis, and you see that FB ref, that middle section is all based on passing and dribbling. And if you see the green,
wow, that's a lot of green.
That's more green than the Amazon rainforest, my friend. It's one of those where I think there's going to be a lot of competition, which may boost the price up massively. Yeah. I've gone here 40 to 50 million, probably paying more like 60, 70.
I was gonna say, if this isn't Todd Bowley's big spend, I'm scared for what.
I mean, we know who Todd Bowley's big spend is. If I give you one guess of a centre back who fits the profile of young, who can move with the ball and pass it for an absolutely stupid, ludicrous amount of money, who are you going with?
A centre back.
Yeah.
Who actually plays centre back?
Yeah. We spoke about him last week.
I can't remember. Who?
Oh, come on, silly boy. It's Josko Gvardiol.
Oh, of course.
The generic choice at centre back. I'm not even going to go into detail about him. We did this all last week.
We know what this man can do.
You know what we're going to do? If you want to hear us talk in detail about Josko Gvardiol, go listen to the Liverpool rebuild from last week, and there you can have some more details on him. But Toby, have you got anyone down for centre back?
Well, I was actually going to argue we don't need another centre back. I think we're more than stocked in that department out of any other position. Maybe wingers. We've got a few too many of them. But I mean, at centre back, I think the starting back 3 for next season. I think in your world where Mourinho's the manager, I think Thiago Silva's obviously going to play under Mourinho. I think he would love him. We've got Badiashile. He's obviously going to play on the left.
I think Chalobah could do a job as that wide centre back.
Yeah, we've still got Chalobah. We've still got Fofana. We've got Koulibaly. He's not going to be shifted. We've got Colwood to come back. All these players.
I to be honest with you, I see Colwood just getting booted out of the club.
Really,
I like Colwood.
I like Colwood too, but I think they're just going to look at him and go.
I don't think he would under Graham Potter.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
We won't sell him. We won't sell him if Graham Potter's there.
Yeah, but Graham Potter's not here in this scenario.
In my world, he still is.
I mean, you could always see Cucurella doing it as well. He did really well at Brighton there.
Left centre back, yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where maybe, but then that might mean the full back is the cover a bit more, and I don't know if Mourinho will want that. But
yeah, we got way too many centre backs. Like realistically, we're not. I don't think we're going to buy another one, and I don't think we're going to shift any of them. To be honest with you,
do you think? I think the only ideal world I can see you doing it is if Koulibaly goes.
Yeah.
And I just can't see Koulibaly going. I don't think anyone would want him. You might be able to loan him out to a big club with an option to buy, but I think that's the best you could get right now.
Yeah, maybe if Napoli lose a centre back, I can see him.
Yeah, maybe if Kim Min-jae goes then.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, I wouldn't sign a centre back. But which one would you sign out of them 3 then?
I actually went with Jurrien Timber. He's not going to break the bank for Chelsea. He's going to cost a decent bit. But again, versatile. It's one of those things where this instantly, if we wanted to fill the club up, that's instantly a backup centre back if Koulibaly starts, your backup defensive midfielder, a backup right back if you want to play back 4, backup left back if you want to play a back 4.
And Ajax are having a poor season as well. They're having a down season, so
I don't think they're going to win.
Might want to cash in
the Eredivisie, and I think he's one of those pieces that's just going to go now. So I'd be snapping up Jurrien Timber if I was Chelsea. I think he's only like 20 as well. He's ridiculously young, but I think this is a position that. We're going to start with you here, Todd, because I know the player we're going to probably start here with Todd Bowley's big spend for defensive midfielder. But
switching it up.
I think it's obvious who Chelsea may go for.
I think it's got to be Declan Rice, isn't it? I think
yeah,
the time has come for him to leave West Ham, and
completely agree.
We've got how many seasons we've been linked with him now? About 3, 4.
If he doesn't go to Chelsea, it's an absolute.
I think he's going to go to Arsenal.
Yeah, I know a lot of people saying Arsenal. A lot of rumours about that, and Liverpool as well. I've heard speak.
I can't see him at Liverpool, to be honest.
I can't see him wanting to go to Liverpool especially if there's not Champions League football there. That's the entire thing he's been asking for. Why would he go? Oh, I'm going to leave for the Europa League when he's already.
Why would he go to Chelsea if Champions League's what he's after?
Because Chelsea can pay more wages than Liverpool.
I think
Chelsea can pay dumb wages as well, and it's his best mates there. I know it's a bit of a generic term, but I think, if he goes, 2 Europa League clubs, 2 non-Europe clubs, I'd rather go to the one where my best mate's at than Liverpool, where Jordan Henderson's going to have to be his mate. I don't think anyone wants to be mates with Jordan Henderson.
I think maybe if West Ham had a better season than they have this season, it could have been tougher for us to get him. But I think the time has come. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think that boat has sailed now? Do you think he's no longer going to come to Chelsea? I know it's not a defining factor, but obviously Mount has had a down season. They're quite good mates. Like, can you see it happening?
Best friends since childhood, aren't they?
Yeah, like Mount is rumoured to be leaving the club. Like, if he doesn't sign that contract, so what do you think is going to happen there?
Like I said, usually I don't think friends would pay an impact, but this is a childhood friend. I think something like that, and I think he's probably mates with James, Chilwell, that group. Going into a club where you're instantly going to feel loved by the fans and by the players, it's a thing that will make an impact. And, playing for possibly, playing for Jose Mourinho, playing for Jurgen Klopp, they're both thingy, but Klopp's really struggled getting the best out of defensive midfielders, even at Liverpool. I think Fabinho had a spell where he was really good, but I don't even think he's had a consistent full season where he was fantastic. So I just see him looking at a team like Jose Mourinho, where Jose Mourinho's got this pedigree of fantastic defensive midfielders under his belt, and going, well, why would I not want to play for you, where I can come in, stay in London, be with my best mate, make a stupid amount of money, and more than likely probably make Champions League. I think you've got a better chance of it than Liverpool do, to be honest with you, next season.
Well, he'd be instantly a star player, and I think, I know he's captain at West Ham obviously now, and I don't think he would come into Chelsea team and take the armband. Obviously we've got Reece James there, and we've got obviously Thiago Silva and stuff, so he wouldn't take the armband straight away, but he's another character, he's another leader in there, and I think even at his young age, like, he's going to be there for 10, 15 years. Like, he could literally go that long. So yeah, obviously he's a big idol with John Terry's. They're good mates as well, so it's just got to happen, innit? It's got to happen.
I think as well, this has potential of being Todd Bowley's big spend or Todd Bowley's biggest bargain, depending if West Ham go down. There's no way on God's green earth you pay them more than 50 mil if he goes down. Nathan Ake is the most at 40. I can't see a Championship player going for more than 50 mil. I don't care who it is. I can imagine in his contract there's a relegation release clause from when he first signed it. For all we know, that relegation release clause is £20 million. For all we know, if there even is one. There's no way he goes from... So, what I've got here is 90 to 100 mil is your Todd Bowley big spend, with the potential of halving practically to 50 mil if you're relegated. But I think the definitive choice is Declan Rice. So, I'm going to quickly list off my other two because I don't want to waste time. I've got as someone to be more of a rock, because with the Mourinho system, he plays more almost like an attacking defensive midfielder, as in almost like a box-to-box where they start a bit deeper on the pitch. I think that's going to be Enzo Fernandez's role. He's going to get given the freedom to roam forward, so the wing backs. So Mourinho may want someone to just sit in front of the defence, tackle and win the ball. I don't think there's many better players in Europe than Wilfred Ndidi, to be honest with you. A player who I don't think should still be at Leicester. A player who I think is genuinely, if we're going off pure defensive ability, one of the best in the world. He's thingy. The amount of tackles I think if he wasn't in Leicester's squad these past few years, they might not be in the league anymore, to be honest with you. I think he's that important of a player, and I also think he'd come at a much slash price, maybe 30 to 40 mil. I think that Leicester are looking at rebuilding now. The chance to get that much money for someone who's 27, 28, they may look at it and go, that's a good move for you lot. Then that gives you time to maybe develop someone from the academy, or give way, or maybe sign a younger player for a similar fee and let them develop behind Ndidi. And then option number 3, bit unrealistic because he plays for your cross-London rivals, Fulham. But João Palhinha, I think, has a very, very good case and may even be up there for signing of the season.
Well, he reminds me of Matic as well.
He's absolutely fantastic.
He's got the same sort of build.
He's fantastic. He's so good. The fact that he plays for Fulham is disgusting. That he is easily, let me think, top 3 defensive midfielder in this league.
Yeah, he's
Casemiro,
been a big reason behind there.
No, okay, top 5 because Casemiro, Rodri, and then him. I think a guaranteed locked, and I think he'd only cost you 40 to 50 mil. I think Fulham are in a situation where I don't think they're going to get Europe in the end. I think they're going to drop to more 9th or 10th. And then if they're offered, I think he's 20. I think Palhinha's 27, 28. I don't think Fulham can turn down £50 million. I think that's too much money for them to turn down. And if they trust their recruitment this summer's been fantastic. There may be I think they've probably already got options down to replace him. But if we also go to the backups, I'm going to fly through this because we don't want to go too long. We're only focusing on backups. Option 1, give a chance to players like Andre Santos, Gallagher, etc. I don't know much about Santos. I don't know statistically. I've heard he's been doing very well for your youth teams. Gallagher obviously can play all across the midfield. Playing him as a defensive midfielder, but I would have him more as the backup to Enzo Fernandez than the backup to, for example, Declan Rice. But if we give some actual players, Manu Kone from Mönchengladbach, fantastic very good on the ball, good in the tackle. Probably getting for about 20 million. Decent signing. I think we may have mentioned Manu Kone last week.
Yeah.
So if we did. And then one that hurts me, Amadou Onana. If we get relegated, I think 3/4 of Europe are going to want to sign him, to be honest. I think he's been one of the best young midfielders, one of the best midfielders in the league this year. I think he's done fantastic for Everton. And like I said, if you look at his FB ref stuff, it's stupid for how bad this Everton team is. It's through the roof. You know, if he's playing for a team like Chelsea now, you know, he's 150 mil. He's got the potential to be just as good as players like Declan Rice and the top defensive midfielders in the world. I think he's got every attribute, to be completely honest with you. And I think he'd only cost, I think if we stayed up, 40 to 50 mil. If we go down, 25, 30 mil. Because I can imagine he's got a relegation release clause in his contract too.
Yeah, another name I just want to throw in there as well is Lavia at Southampton. Like, they're going to go down, and I know it came out as a big news story, didn't it? On I think it was the eve of the final of the transfer window in the summer, the final day. That a shock transfer was Lavia. We were after Lavia as soon as even if he moved to Southampton, we were still after him. Like, I think that should have been crazy, but I think he'd be an interesting signing to sort of explore in that central defensive midfield area.
Oh yeah, definitely. And again, backup right wing back will fly through these very quickly. Wilfred Singo from Torino, very good going forward. He's decent aerially as well, which is a good chance for, you know, players like Enzo Fernandez to play those diagonal balls out to the wing back. A good backup for Reece James, pacey, good, decent cross, quite young as well. I think he's 22, 23. Gives him time to develop. And then 15 to 20 mil. And then Marcus Pedersen from Feyenoord. Feyenoord are having a fantastic season this season in the Eredivisie. I don't know whereabouts they are now, but they're in the title race. Pedersen's been a big part of that. Can play at wing back, can play at full back. You know, fantastic crosser. He's got an eye for a goal. I'm not an expert on him. Like I said, this is just watching a few games where now and again, I can't act like I'm an expert. He'd cost you about 10 to 15 mil. There's your options for a backup right wing back. And now, Toby, onto the big boy position. The number 9. The cursed position at Chelsea. Hasn't been a good one since Diego Costa. Before that, hadn't been a good one since Didier Drogba. And
you could argue Tammy Abraham and Giroud if you combine them together.
Okay.
If you combine their records together.
Tammy Abraham, maybe if you'd have kept him.
Yeah.
And not just sacked him off.
Yeah, I still can't believe that happened, to be honest. I think it was dreadful. But anyways.
It's a disgrace.
So do we get the obvious option for striker out of the way early? I think
you're Felix.
Mr. Felix.
Well,
the winner, by the way, of Chelsea's goal of the month, worst goal of the month, most important goal of the month,
long range effort.
Long range effort of the month, best assist of the month. It's got everything.
Well, yeah. Well, I think we do sign him, but do we play him as a striker? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to play that.
Here's the thing: is I've got him down as a striker, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's playing that Dybala role.
Yeah.
Which is where I see him. I'm going to be nice to Havertz and give him another chance in that Dybala role. Maybe if he's given more of a license off the ball, then maybe that helps him a bit. And I just can't see anyone paying the money you'd want for Havertz to be worth selling him. So maybe Mourinho gives him a chance. If not, maybe he moves Felix back and gives a striking option to... Well, I've got someone here who's going to be signed to be a backup striker because I saw he was available on a free and thought, well, I can't not put that option down. But we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I don't see why not with João Felix's stats. I can imagine you've got them up. His stats are unbelievable. If you look at his FB ref stuff, I thought they'd be quite crap because, you know, the absolute attack vacuum that is Atletico Madrid sucks out all attacking talent from you. It's ridiculous. He's in basically the top 30% for almost every important striking stat. And he's still, what, 21, 22? It's ridiculously young. But you've watched him play with your own eyes for Chelsea. Not much, but what do you think about it?
It was just a big shame that he got that red card when he did.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good to watch, man. Like, he generally is the only real exciting thing at the club at the moment. Him and obviously watching him and Fernandes. But yeah, he's hit the ground running. Like, yeah, he just needs to turn them. I know he hasn't a lot of chances himself. I think he hit the crossbar, didn't he, in that Dortmund against Dortmund in the Champions League. But yeah, he just needs
trophy now.
He just needs to start. He just needs to start scoring more goals. Basically, is what I think. And yeah, he'll be great for us if we play him in that sort of that ball carrying role, maybe off a striker. Yeah, he's just exciting to watch. So if we do get him in alongside an out and out 9, would be brilliant.
Well, if you want an out and out 9, I've got a name for you, Mr. Jonathan David, someone who has had a lot of potential but never really seemed to fulfil it until this season. I believe he's in the top 10 for the race for the European Golden Shoe right now. He's got 15 goals in the league or something crazy like that. Again, still quite young. Plays for a team in Lille where you can probably get him for like.
Could you try again?
All right, Siri, mate. Cheers for that. But Siri's trying to pipe in on the podcast.
Does Siri have a striker suggestion?
But
Todd Bowley's big spend.
Todd Bowley's big spend. Well, Todd Bowley's big spend, I think, would be Al Felix. I think he's still going to cost you 70 to 80 mil. But again, we're going to mention Jonathan David. I think, like I said, I think he's got 15 goals in the league. So I don't see why you wouldn't pounce on that. And I think, the American-Canadian sort of thing, he's still 23. 15 goals and 4 assists in 24 matches played for Lille. Great stats. Well, saying that, he plays for Canada, born in Brooklyn. I don't know if that's going to impact Todd Bowley's decision-making.
Maybe.
American, nice North American star to have, since Pulisic is an absolute waste.
I think as well that might be a sensible signing. I don't know. I don't feel confident that he would be able to lead the team.
Yeah,
as an out and out, as a starting striker. But maybe if we didn't have other strikers at the club like Broja, like Fofana, like possibly he'd be a good like a second striker, another option off the bench, or someone who could play, with the two up front. But I don't think he's the right profile at the moment. But like I said, like we could probably pick him up for a good fee, because similar to other players, other suggestions, like I feel like his boat has sailed now, so other big teams might not be looking at him. Like, I haven't seen him linked to many clubs recently. Like, there was all that hype when there a couple of seasons ago when they won the league, but yeah, I don't know, possibly.
Yeah, and the final selection, and arguably the winner of Todd Bowley's best bargain for today, would be a Mr. Marcus Thuram.
Right, okay.
Chelsea were interested in January, but even better for you, this summer it'd be nothing. Cost a big fat 0. And again, 11 goals, 3 assists in 21 matches, and just an absolute force up front. He is your big typical number 9, but he also has that, almost like that French, it's natural, that French ability when you're a forward to just dink the ball past someone, to be able to dribble, drive with the ball. And even someone where, if you signed a João Felix, I can't imagine Thuram would be bothered about coming off the bench if you were managed to get some form of European competition. But again, for a free transfer to lead your line, to then possibly give someone like, because to be honest with you, I think Broja is another loan move now.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea are going to look at him and go,
especially after
big injury.
Let's set him back a bit.
Let's send you out on loan to get something. I think he's got Everton written all over him for some reason.
Well, he was linked to you anyway.
Well, that's it. Even without the Lampard link, I think the big high crossing Sean Dyche style, I think even they'll look at him, our club, and go, they're probably a good club to get goals out of you with the way you play. Let's send you there, rebuild your confidence. And then maybe someone like, I am a big fan of Datro Fofana, but throwing him into a team that wants to qualify for the Champions League this early is mental. Don't get me wrong, he might be like Drogba, where he signs from, Marseille with not much hype around him. I know you spent a big bit of money on thingy, but there wasn't really that hype around him, and then he just blew the league away in his first season. So it might be like that, but I can't see it. Just because they're both from Ivory Coast doesn't mean they're both going to bang goals for Chelsea. You know what I mean?
True.
But
yeah, he needs time.
I think if I'm Chelsea, I think Jose Mourinho will go João Felix, Portuguese. He want to develop the player himself.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think also signing someone like Marcus. Well, I'm going to say you sign Felix and Thuram. Thuram's on a free, so I've got. If you've got any suggestions for a striker, go. But I've got what I'd say is your 23-man squad, which I think is definitely good enough to be challenging for the Champions League at a minimum.
Well, my suggestion would be, I don't know, before the season maybe, or even last season, I don't know, but what's his name, Tammy Abraham. I think we should never have got rid of him in the first place. And in your world, obviously, he's not had the best season this season, but in your world where Jose Mourinho comes back to the club,
no, I think it's a given.
That'd be perfect, wouldn't it? Really,
I think it's a given if Jose Mourinho comes back that he'd go for Tammy Abraham, but I knew you'd want to suggest that, so I didn't want to steal your thunder.
Yeah, well, he's got 9 goals in 23 games this season. Not as good as last season, but maybe a similar sort of player to him, who I think, I don't know, growingly it's becoming more realistic.
Can I put a bet on who that striker is?
No,
Is it Ivan Toney?
it's Ivan Toney. It is. Yeah, I think that's way more realistic now.
I think he'd smash it there as
Oh,
well.
it'd be stupid. It'd be
even-
ridiculous.
Even I could see him going to Manchester United as well. Like,
I think he's going to be second on United's list to Kane.
Well, it depends where he's put a bet on and going to, isn't it?
yeah.
It won't surprise me. Do you know what? I feel like this summer is going to be such a fun summer, as in, like, there's going to be so many transfers that have, like, for example, Harry Kane's going to go to United, which means Ivan Toney goes to Spurs, which mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of, like, butterfly effects.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those where it's going to be, but I definitely can see Chelsea, Spurs, even Arsenal. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Arsenal signed Ivan Toney. I think it's going to be a huge race for him. There's no way he stays at Brentford this summer.
No. I think he's got that star power now. Like, I feel like he can really step up. He's proved it this season as well. I don't know, it's a bit of a joke and a bit of banter as well, but to be playing as well as he is now, even with that sort of betting thing over his head, you know what I mean? Like, he's had a lot of talk around him. He missed
Not
out on
being
the World
selected
Cup.
for England as well.
Yeah, he missed out on the World Cup, and
I can't believe that, man. I'm sorry, Callum Wilson's a good player, but come on.
yeah, but you can understand why he didn't go now, can't you? It's obviously because of the
No,
betting.
I don't care about the betting.
Yeah, but as Gareth said, you wouldn't want that.
Would have been
all
a
the
terrible move.
questions would be about that, wouldn't it? And
Yeah.
every time he came on the pitch, it would be about that, and it'd be another ball leg.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's more with Southgate. That's more Southgate's the type of manager where this is going to be a ball ache for me, not a ball ache for the player. I honestly don't think Ivan Toney gives a shit.
No, but it would have been a bad move. It would have been bad for the image.
No, but my thing is, he bet on a bit of football that he wasn't involved in. Who cares, man?
Mm.
I know it's a rule, but he's not betting on his games. If he was betting on Ivan Toney to score an own goal and scored an own goal, that's a different story, isn't it? But it's been proven he never bet on his own team. Maybe when he was at Peterborough, another team in the Championship who was around him, he bet on them to lose. And I think it's very stupid. I know that we've got to have footballers look as professionals. If he wants to have a gamble in his spare time, let him. It's not. I hate the aura of sport that just because you play that sport, then you can't associate with it when it comes to stuff like gambling. In the end, he's a grown man. He's not cheating in any way possible. So why punish him for it? In my opinion.
And I think out of the list, we're not strong enough to get like a Osserman now, which would be the obvious pick if we were, in the top 4. We've also been linked to Mitrovic as well, which I think is very interesting.
I had Mitrovic down, but I'd be very surprised if he'd leave to Chelsea when he's already going to be at a West London club that's got European football.
Yeah, but I think Ivan Toney is the most realistic, probably the most sensible, and I think he would do really well regardless anyway. Even if he did have a good season, I think he would be good for us, and I think he could take that number 9 shirt.
Link-up play as well is very, very underrated from Ivan Toney. I think he'd get the best out of the players around him as well. But mentioning that, I've not got Ivan Toney, even though I'm now going to change my mind and we're going to sign Ivan Toney too, because we're Chelsea and we've got a shit ton of money. So after that change, this is going to be the Chelsea squad that I'd recommend under Jose Mourinho. In goal, we've got Livakovic. The back 3 would be Badiashile, Thiago Silva and Jurrien Timber. Possibly Koulibaly, but I think Timber would suit that more attacking role. Right wing back Reece James, left wing back Ben Chilwell. Then you've got 2 defensive midfielders, even though one of them's kind of like a box to box, of Declan Rice and Enzo Fernandez. Yep. And then you've got a front 3 of. Originally, I was going to have Raheem Sterling playing the Dybala role. I think he could do that, and I think it would help him a lot. But I think Raheem Sterling's slowing down a bit. I think Raheem Sterling's going to become a bench player, even under Jose Mourinho. So, with the change and with the temptation now to put Ivan Toney in the team, I'm going to have Mason Mount as the 10, the playmaker. I'm going to give him a chance. I think Mourinho will get the best out of him. His man management's a lot better than anyone makes out. I think we're going to have João Felix as that Dybala role, with Ivan Toney leading the line. And off the bench, then, that will mean we have, if I have a little look here, we'll have Slanina as the backup. Then we'll have Koulibaly, Wesley Fofana, Marc Cucurella, Conor Gallagher, Kai Havertz, Mudryk, Madueke, Then we will have either Marcus Thuram or whoever else is the backup striker off the bench. Trevor Chalobah, Cesar Azpilicueta and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Is that squad with Jose Mourinho as manager a title contender?
Not straight away.
No, not straight
Yeah.
away. No.
Do you not even under Mourinho?
Not in first season. Not in the first
Top
season.
4?
Top 4, and then a push in the second.
Well,
Well,
that is
sorry to jump in, but
Oh,
I'm
here
just
he
looking
goes.
on Twitter at the moment. But there's a lot of talk that Graham Potter's got 2 more games to change it.
Breaking news.
A lot of unrest apparently that the new players are really upset and angered that they've come straight into the club and there's so much pressure on them already.
Wow.
So
I mean,
if the players turn, it could get
But it won't be
nasty.
funny if there's a lot of pressure on the manager. That pressure is naturally going to be handed down to the players.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
course.
but I hate the mentality of some footballers nowadays. I've moved for 100 million and there's pressure on me.
Oh,
Why?
I'm scared. Get a grip.
Get a grip. You get paid 100 grand a week to play football.
Ridiculous.
Well, I'm sat in my overdraft making a podcast that 3 people are going to listen to. Come on. And the 3 people are us 3. So it's like, stop. But yeah, I think he's got. I just can't see him staying. I think there's just so much negativity around him. Like with Arteta, there was the FA Cup to shield him. There's no shield for Potter, and I think he's just gonna go. Do I think it'll be Mourinho? No, I think it's gonna be Simeone. To be honest with you, I think he'll leave Atletico now and come to finally get his big money move to the Prem. And I think he's the perfect manager for Chelsea. He's a gnarly, snarly bastard, which is the type of managers Chelsea like. Mourinho, Conte, Simeone himself. You know, they're the managers who always seem to do the best at Chelsea. So
Yeah,
It won't
that would be an interesting shout.
it wouldn't
Would be
surprise
really
me at all to see all your attackers contribute to 10 goals combined.
Mm.
But you will also concede 3 goals in the entire season. But that is all for today. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify or any other podcasting platform, please make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars. If you did enjoy, follow us on Twitter @UnfortunateFP and follow all our personal Twitters, which will also be linked below.
Tell your friends we exist as well.
Please, we
Begging.
need a
Begging.
we need a
Alan's on his
sponsor.
knees.
We need. I'm literally on my knees right now. I'm begging
Need
you.
a sponsor.
I'm begging you. Please sponsor the podcast. Please, I need to eat. But anyway, thank you all for listening and goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.